Guruve Gaura Chandraya Harikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatruvescha Kripasinduvevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam devotees. So I am trying to block out this big skylight that's behind me. I just wanted to very quickly answer a question that was asked by a very nice devotee, and actually very nice questions. I'm going to go ahead and look at the question so I don't miss anything, because it was a pretty specific question. She was asking that are any jivas capable of becoming Shakis, meaning there are different kinds of Shakis of Radhika. I'll explain this in a minute after I read the question. If not, what about the Shruti Charis and the sages who meditated on Ram, which are the Rishi Charis? So I'll explain all of that in a minute. Who entered into who meditated on Ramchandra to become gopis, who entered into the rasa dance. Then she has a second question. Was Mirabai a sadhana siddha? Did she achieve her own highest goal, or will she need to come back to earth eventually, become fully in the anugatya of Krishna's eternal associates? How would she achieve dwarka and inspire millions of people in bhakti if she acted improperly in not serving Radhika? Because as far as the second question is concerned, our acharyas, our Srila Prabhupada, many of our other acharyas, have mentioned that in the case of Mirabai, which I guess I'll address that first and then work my way backwards, that in the case of Mirabai, if you don't know who she is, she's a very, very great devotee who was a princess actually. And from the time of her early age, she had worshipped the Vigraha of Shri Krishna, and she had developed very, very deep attachment to Krishna, and to the point where she considered that Krishna is my husband. So even at the time of I'm paraphrasing here, even at the time of the arrangement of her marriage, she really did not accept it, because she only accepted that Shri Krishna was a husband. She eventually ran away from all of her worldly duties, and she came to Vrindavan, where she wrote many, many bhajans that are sung even to this day. She became very, very inspiring and popular in terms of the ideal of a devotee to thousands and thousands, obviously, of people. So our acharyas, however, have said that because the teachings in the line of Mahaprabhu are geared towards Radha Dasyam, as Srimad Bhagavatam is also geared towards Radha Dasyam, which is our Mool Sastra, that the mood of Mirabai's direct approach to Sri Krishna, void of anugatya under the eternal associates of Krishna, so to speak, is seen to have some fault in it. So certainly I would not be in a position to estimate what is the nature of the bhakti and bhajan of Mirabai. But what our acharyas have mentioned is only this point, that we are in line in Raganuga Bhakti of Anugatya. And this speaks to the other question as well, that Anugatya is the chief element of Rag Anuga Bhakti. Literally, Rag Anuga Bhakti means to do Anugatya to those who are Ragatmik. So the word Ragatmik means who has Rag. Rag means spontaneous, established attachment for Shri Krishna or Radha Krishna in their hearts. They are called Ragatmik. To follow in the wake of their mood is called Rag Anuga. And Anuga, as I explained, means Anugatya, right? Or to follow, to aspire for and to follow that particular mood. So this is the line of approach in the line of Mahaprabhu to obtaining perfection in serving Shri Radha Krishna. So without this Anugatya, it is difficult to aspire for a particular goal. So in regards to whether or not Jivas can become Shakis of Radhika, everyone who obtains perfection in Madhurya Rasa, especially in Babulas Ratya Manjari Bhav, has Shaki Bhav. Radhika has 5 kinds of Shakis. So Parama Presta Shakis like Lalita Vishaka, etc. Then Priya Shakis. Then you have Pran Shakis. You have Nitya Shakis, and then you have a category which is just called Shaki. So in general, in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is seen that those who are in the aspirational position for Madhurya Rasa Seva do so in the Anugatya of our Goswami Varga. Our Goswami Varga, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Guna Manjari, Vilas Manjari, etc., who appeared as Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, etc., they all have this Manjari Bhav. So Raghunath Das Goswami, who is considered in our line to be our Prayojana Acharya. So each of our acharyas are assigned a special kind of commission, so to speak. So Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad is the Sambandha Gyan Acharya. Srila Rupa Goswami is considered our Abhideya Acharya. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is considered our Prayojana Acharya. In other words, what mood is imbued in the heart of Raghunath Das Goswami is our aspirational mood. To say that every single jiva only has to have this mood, that's a broader discussion and probably would not fit in the purview of what I'm trying to describe here. Because then you have to be inclusive of other sampradayas. So for instance, the Nimbarka Sampradaya, etc., what their modality of following eternal associates of Krishna are and what their aspiration is, you know, because in Nimbarka Sampradaya purportedly, they have an idea of Nitya Shaki Bhav and Nitya Seva with no separation mood, etc. But I don't want to generalize here because I'm not speaking specifically from something I directly have recently studied or something. So back to our point that Raghunath Das Goswami is our Prayojana Acharya, and his own statements in Vilap Kuch Manjali say, Shakayate Mama Namostu Namostu Nityam, Tashayate Mama Rastostu Rasostu Satyam. He declares that I do not want at any time, Radhika, to be your Shaki, like Priya Shakis, like Parama Presta Shakis, but I eternally want to taste the mood of service to you. So, Dashayate Mama Rasostu Rasostu Satyam. My taste is deeply imbued with this mood of eternally being your servant. So, as I mentioned, in the line of Mahaprabhu, this mood of Radha Dasam is very prominent. Our acharya is described in the verse. Anarpitam Chirin Chirat. In the last line of this verse, it is mentioned, Unata Ujjvala Rasa Shwabhakti Sriyam. So, Unata Ujjvala Rasa means the mood of Radhika's praying towards Krishna. And Swabhakti Sriyam means the beauty of that praying of Radhika's is the ability to serve it. Swabhakti Sriyam. So the aspirational mood, primarily of those in the line of Mahaprabhu, is this Anugatya to our Goswami Varga with the aspiration for Radha Dasyam in Manjari Bhav. Now, are there others who may become inspired in their maturation in Ruchi with Sakya Bhav? Certainly, we've seen. But we don't see that there is a clear path of following the Sakis. In other words, what Acharya or what Guru Vargas manifested Saki Bhav in our line, and therefore we, like you have Nayananda Thakur, you have obviously the associates of Mahaprabhu, like Hridoy Chaitanya, right? Like so many others who were in Sakya Bhav. So you have a mood of Anugatya to associates of Mahaprabhu in Sakya Bhav, right? Where do we find, really within Madhurya Rasa, any of the associates of Mahaprabhu who were in Saki Bhav and we're doing Anugatya to them? So the Parama Presta Shakis, that position is not attainable for us. The position of Lalita, Visakha, etc. Now in Ujjwal Nilamani, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, in analyzing the Shakis, he mentions that those who will do sadhana in the mood of serving Lalita, Visakha, they may obtain a position of Priya Shakis, right? But there's a whole debate about what is the actual meaning of this verse, right? Because we don't practically see that there is anyone in our line in Mahaprabhu that we can name who followed in that methodology. And remember, the hallmark quality of Raganuga Bhajan is Anugatya. So whom in our Goswami Varga did we see follow that mood of the Paramapresta Shakis and become Priya Shaki? I have not seen, it may be there, I'm not, omniscient or anything, but I have not seen. But we have seen clearly the following of our Goswami Vargas and the attainment of Radha Dasyam in the form of becoming Nitya Shakis, meaning followers of the Pran Shakis, right? And in definition, if you go into Ujjwal Nilamani, you'll see the definitions are based on a calculation of the increments of praying. And another calculation being whether one has more praying for Krishna, which is Shakis, or whether one has Samasneha, equal praying for both, but may lean towards service to Radhika. So this is how the metric is described in Ujjwal Nilamani. So I don't want to cause confusion, but my point being that if you look at our Guru Vargas, the writings of our Guru Vargas, all the way down from our Goswami Vargas, Rupa and Sanatan, all the way down to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, you will find that the prominent, and even among our contemporary acharyas, the prominent mood is Babula Srati or Manjari Bhav, and it's based on the Anugatya to our Goswami Varga. Understand? So if there is some idea where someone knows of someone who has developed mood of following the Paramapresta Shakis, and there is someone who did so and aspired for the mood of a Priya Shaki, and they're in the line of Mahaprabhu, then maybe that could be shown. I have not seen, as I mentioned, right? But we do have clear written and the sayings of our sadhus about the glory of Radha Dasyam in Manjari Bhav, and that it is very prominent. So, and we also have Satya Rasa. We've seen that there are followers, right? Gauridas, Pandit, Hridoy Chaitanya, and their followers who succeeded them, right? So I mentioned Nayananda Thakur, others, right? So we know down to contemporary times of Krishnadas Babaji, who was a disciple of Al Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that we've seen. We've not seen Anugatya in the mood of becoming a Priya Shaki, right? So hopefully that answers Didi's question to some degree. For more answers describing especially about the nature of the Shruti Charis, personified Vedas, and the Rishi Charis, who are the sages at Dandakaranya, you can read, especially in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad's Tika, Sa-Artha Darshini, in chapter 29, I think it's verses maybe 9, maybe like 9 and 10 or something like that. I know one of the verses, Dusaha, Dusaha, Presta Tivratapa, Dushta Shubha, right? This is one verse that's quoted about those gopis who were unable to leave their homes during the call for Ras. And because they were unable to leave their homes, internally, Gyanya Prapta Tutra Shlesha, Nivitta Shina Mangali, they developed a deep attachment and they embraced Krishna within their hearts. But anyway, in the commentary on those verses, and the previous verse, Antargraha, I can't remember the rest of this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad goes over the status of those who are siddhas under different conditions. The Deva Kanyas, who are actually expansions of Nitya Siddhas, and Ujjwal Nilamani, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad mentions these Deva Kanya, who, Deva Kanya means like the daughters of the demigods, right? They were actually expansions of Nitya Siddhas. And he mentions they become Priya Shakis. So this was the argument from Ujjwal Nilamani, that only this category of those Deva Kanyas, they become Priya Shakis because they are Nitya Siddha. Also is mentioned that those who, previously had the form of coward girls and simply appeared in Prakat Braj, they also can have this position of Priya Saki. But generally, the Shruti Charis and Rishi Charis, it does not specify. I look in commentary, it does not specify what position they've taken, but it can be assumed from later verses, because they had direct contact with Krishna, which is not something which is prominent in Manjari Bhav, that they obtained a position of like Sakis, right? So, but again, my point being that where is the Anugatya in our Guru Vargas that we will follow to obtain that mood? Right, so this was the point. So hopefully this clarifies everything. And of course, like I mentioned, it'd be too long to discuss here, become a whole class. But if you look at verses, I believe it's 9 and 10, right? Or you can start at verse 8, but I'm pretty sure it's 9 and 10 in chapter 29 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you look at the commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, and he quotes other tikas as well there to show the position of the Rishicharis, who were the sages at Dandakaranya, how they had aspiration for serving Gopal, means Krishna, but seeing the beauty of Lord Ramachandra, they became attracted because it obviously is reflective. And so they obtained by Sri Ram's Kripa positions in Braj. And according to how they associated in their obtainment of Braj, whether they associated significantly or not with Nitya Siddha Gopis, determine their posture on the night of Ras. Right? So I don't want to get into that because we'll get into a whole another thing, how Yogamaya made duplicate bodies for most of the gopis, but did not make duplicate bodies for those who did not have sufficient association with Nitya Siddha Gopis, and therefore they were trapped by their husbands. But the verse that I quoted earlier, Dusaha Presta Tivra Tapa Dushta Shubha, this verse states that by the nature of their separation, having not been able to leave their home, it burnt up any last vestiges of issues they had, and by embracing Krishna within their hearts, Paramatma Jaryapi Buddhisangata, in the mood of a paramour, they obtained Ras on a later night, or some say they obtained Ras in Nitya Golok Dham. So here's the crux issue, so we don't become confused. Where will be the Anugatya to become a Priya Saki? This is the point. I know some devotees give argument for this, but my question then, at the time of having this discussion previously, was the hallmark quality of doing Raganuga Sadhan is Anugatya. So to whom in our Guru Vargas will we do Anugatya for the mood of a Priya Saki? Whereas we know that the entire mood of serving the Pran Sakis and becoming Nitya Saki has been shown throughout our entire Guru Vargas, all the way down to contemporary Acharyas. So hopefully this was somewhat helpful. If not, certainly we can continue the discussion. All right, my Dandavat Pranams. If also you want to have more information, you can also look in Ujjan Lilamani. It may be chapter 9, I'm not remembering offhand, but there's a whole description of the Sakis. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad and Jiva Goswami Pad are giving commentary there, so it will also be helpful. But again, I'm going to repeat this because I think it's very important. The crux issue here will be, if you want to obtain any mood in Braj, you'll have to do Anugatya to that mood, and you'll have to find that manifestation of pure devotion in our Guru Vargas that has that mood, and do Anugatya to it. Right? All right, my Dandavat Pranam Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.